Welcome to the Talk and Chatter experience powered by Gasoline Alley Harley Davidson. Today's guest is Josh Farrell, industry icon. Motorcycle industry stalwart, or whatever that word is. Welcome, mate.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, mate.
What a day.
What a day. Yeah, it's been an awesome day. So it's not often you get to experience a day like that and then come back and sit in here and do something like this. So I'm very grateful.
For sure. So what did we get up to today?
Mate, we loaded up a couple of dirt bikes and met up and took them out to get muddy.
Had the beautiful property provided by Chris, and in a secret location, we'll just call it New Zealand because it's probably, you're from New Zealand. Is that New Zealand land?
Good as from New Zealand. It was magical. So
some of the I don't know. There's fresh track everywhere we had to go. We had to make fresh, basically. There's a little layout, but it was just fresh land, wasn't it?
Yeah, the layout was there, but finding our way was part of the fun. So.
And then what was about 2 sessions in, my pure gumbiness came out. I couldn't get up hills. I couldn't get around corners.
Let's just say the rain set in.
The rain did set in. So, and still in jackets now because probably it was borderline hypothermia as we left.
Yeah, well, I changed. I dried up a little bit because we decided to wash the bikes on the way back and get mud in even more places that I thought I'd cleaned it out of. So
yeah, and the mud did go everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah. Let's leave it at that.
But it was an awesome day. So what were you on? You were on, what's yours, a 2020?
Yeah, SXF 250. And then we brought the 97 CR, the old girl, out for you.
Yeah, which was awesome. What was the clutch thing that you said you had on there?
So we put a Wiseco clutch in it. Mm-hmm. So unfortunately, with doing that, it got a little bit harder on the hand. So if there was an arm pump already, there definitely was after putting that thing in. So it's just like it's a little mechanism that essentially reduces how much is on, or how much load is on the clutch cable.
Yep.
And it's literally smaller than the palm of your hand, a little aluminium box with a pivot lever in it. And I think it's more made for stunt bikes and things like that. But I snuck it on the CR and it seems to be...
It works well, though.
Oh, big difference.
Because even just after riding it today, with that, I can only imagine what it was like without it. Because even today, we didn't ride much. We probably... Enough.
Yeah.
Enough to ride. But my hand towards the end of just probably trying to fan it to try and get up that last mud hill, but I couldn't get up towards the end.
Yeah.
That would have sucked without that, I reckon.
Definitely, yeah. I put that on just before Day in the Dirt, the last one just been. So I did a couple of practice days on it, and I said, I'm not going to be able to hang on to this thing for a 45-minute moto or, the team's race. So any assistance.
And when are you going to adapt the electric start to it?
Never. That's the fun of the lounge.
What a luxury, that is now.
Yeah, it was fun watching you kick it while I just pressed a button and
off you went.
Got into the day.
It was a good day. It was a good day. So thank you so much for getting that out because not often you get other people offering you things like that to ride for one thing, and then a private property like that was pretty damn special too.
Topped it off, didn't it?
It did indeed. So who are you, mate?
I don't even know how to sum that up anymore. Yeah. I guess I as of most recent, probably a marketing specialist, I guess you could say, that's come out of the industry. Yeah, that's spent a bit of time and obviously very grateful for motorcycles and what they've provided myself and the journey through life, essentially. So been very, very lucky. Very lucky to end up where I have and have done what I've done. So
how did you originally get into bikes? How was that?
From a young age, mate, I just I grew up
across the ditch, obviously.
With Dad. Across the ditch in New Zealand, and I grew up with my dad having a love for them and a passion, and I guess that kind of got passed down. So I wasn't able to ride from a real young age, but we got our first bike probably around the age of 10, I'd say, and it just all kicked off from there. So
were you into pushies or
push bikes big time
at that time?
Yeah, at that time.
Okay,
loved my push bikes.
So you had all the foundations there before you went onto the motorcycle.
Correct. Yeah. So BMX bikes as it starts for all of us, I think, with that BMX bike and pulling that down, stripping it, and not being able to put it back together. That's where it all started.
Yeah, I think my BMX is still apart somewhere.
Yeah,
those cranks, eh?
They get the ball bearings fall out of those cranks, and you're trying to find them everywhere, and it just ends up sitting there.
It's your first initiation into getting greasy.
Yeah,
is the crank on a
100%.
BMX bike.
Yeah,
at
getting
4 years
grease on
old.
your clothes, and mum's going mad at you, and
Getting really angry. Eh?
yeah, really angry.
What was the bike?
The dirt bike, first dirt bike. It was an '85 Yamaha from memory.
Like
YZ. Yeah, that's where it all started. Mixing 2-stroke gas and got a passion for it.
So where'd you grow up in New Zealand?
New Zealand, I'm all over, mate.
Okay.
Yeah, I originally grew up in Palmerston North, and which is quite a small town, and not a lot to do there. So riding dirt bikes kept me out of trouble, which was good. So and then from there, we moved around a little bit. My mum was into real estate, had a real estate business, and ended up in Wellington, ended up in Taranaki, to which I took on a bit of surfing, of all things.
Really?
So, yeah, took on a bit of surfing. When the ocean's right there, you kind of chuck on a wetsuit and try not to freeze, and go out in the cold ocean, and sharks scare me, so that stops that.
So you didn't continue to surf?
No, I did for a little bit, but we were actually out in just off the coast somewhere there in Taranaki one morning, and they had a couple of great white sightings, and they closed the beach down, and that was it for me.
Literally.
Yeah, I was done after that. So we got caught out with some blue bottles probably the weekend before that, and I'm done with surfing.
Do you want to have to keep peeing on yourself?
Nah, yeah, I've done that a few times, not intentionally either.
Not intentionally.
Wasn't because of the blue bottles.
Oh. Yeah, they're shockers though. Like, and you've got some pretty big creatures off New Zealand too.
It's crazy. We don't have snakes or spiders like you guys do here, and it's probably the biggest thing. Like pulling my gear bag out here before going for a ride and stuff, and we've got a big garage at home, and I'm forever like, is there anything in my boots? Is there anything in my bag? And sure enough, there hasn't been yet. But
there hasn't been?
Nah, it still makes me check.
Especially with, like, obviously you guys got horses around.
Yes. Yeah.
And we're joined by Ashley here tonight as well.
Yeah, I've got my lovely better half here who follows me and helps me do everything. So I'm very thankful for that.
And two-way street by the sounds of things from today's conversations.
She helps me clean the bikes, and I help her clean the horse truck, and
the
we go from
pilot.
there. Yeah, horse husband.
Horse husband.
Yeah.
But and having horses and other animals around and feed and that. It's a wonder you haven't had any.
Yeah, not yet. We're waiting for it. So I keep checking the hay bales each time we go and give the pony a biscuit of hay, and it hasn't happened yet. But
thank goodness.
I'll keep on my toes.
You don't want them. Did you start racing at an early age?
Yeah, quite early.
Yeah.
So I started racing off the back of riding the 85, and in New Zealand we have a lot of flat track racing, which is not so much like what we call flat track here, but it's like grass tracks. So, farmers would open up their paddocks to, a couple of ride days, and you'd come in, it'd be coned out, and you'd go and cut in a track. So
wow.
all flat and rolling and natural hills.
Sort of like today?
Like what we were doing today, but a little bit more open paddock scale.
Yeah, right.
So by the time you have 30, 40 bikes at the start gate, go and do one lap of the thing, it cuts in pretty quick. So
it's something you mentioned today as well was about the skills. Like, you're not doing jumps, you're not doing this and that there, but that sort of riding does refine your skills a lot, doesn't it?
100%.
And obviously you grew up doing it. Do you think that's
sliding around the place?
Yeah, throttle control, clutch control, especially on a CR.
Especially on the CR.
CR. But do you think that helps you with your riding come later on?
Big time. Yeah. Probably made me a little bit too aggressive in the corners, but
yeah, right.
Because as soon as you come and have a berm behind you, you get a little bit reliant on it. So you start to come in a bit quicker and think the berm's going to save you in.
And when you've got flat turns and no berms, you start to worry about it, don't you?
Oh, yeah. As you found today.
Yeah, I did.
When the rain comes down and you're coming out of the corner 1 minute, you're sort of getting a bit of traction, and the next you're out sideways. So.
Yeah, 100%. Or that corner coming up to where Ash was today, that got loose, didn't it? Coming in.
Yeah.
That was really, really loose.
Yeah.
And there's a few times there I thought, I'm down here. I'm actually down. And, yeah, only thing that saved it wasn't skill. I don't know what it was. It's just luck.
Bit of luck. A dry patch.
Yeah, dry patch. We found the grip. Okay, so you went on to that at that age. What was after that?
I stopped for a while. So I was actually out at it was like an inter-school event. So I used to do Woodville International and things like that. And that was awesome fun. So we had some big names come through there. It was an amazing track, like absolutely beautiful. But we had an interstate round for high school. So like the high schools back home would put together a team and send that team off, and you'd represent your school essentially like you would athletics or something like that. And
Seriously?
Seriously. So they sent a team off. So they sent myself and a few friends, and we went a race for the school. And it was good fun. It was good fun. It was in a beautiful setting, an amazing track, concrete start gate. It was really cool. And unfortunately, I think my third race of the day, I actually had a bit of a word from Dad, and Dad's like, this is the last one, I think. And he's like, go out and go hard. And I was like, all right. So I jumped on the start gate and got a little bit more traction on the whole shot than what I thought.
Oh,
and
no.
Got first to the corner, and I was coming around the outside, and a couple of guys came from the inside, and that was me over. I got taken out, and so ridden over a couple of times, and realised my leg was out 90 degrees to me, and yeah, that was the end of the day.
Are you serious?
Yep. So
broken or dislocated?
Snapped in half completely. Yeah. So it was close to a compound fracture where it came out of the skin. And
what age?
I was 14, maybe going on 15.
Goodbye to the school program.
Yep. Yeah, so that really put a bit of a stop on my racing, and it even of a young age, it really made me step back and go, wow, like it can quickly change and quickly stop. And you look at the monetary value that your parents and people around you and sponsors put into your racing, and it can all stop like that. So
mate, that's huge.
Yeah, so I had to learn to walk again, and I was in a hospital that was quite a fair away from home. I think we were a 2-3 hour trip from home. So, that was hard for me to be stuck there and, awaiting surgery, and then, my parents have to be getting back to work, and they can't be there for me. So I was stuck in hospital by myself for a few days at a young age. So,
and I don't know how old you are now, but that's a few years ago now.
That's a few years ago now.
So the technology, as well as in things like recovery and that, would have changed a lot since then. So you would have been in there for a fair while at that time.
Fair while, yeah. I don't remember it too much now. I think sort of it always been blocked out of my mind. But I just remember one thing, vividly, and I got up out of my hospital bed and I just wanted to get out. I was by myself, and I went to try and walk down the hallway just to go use a toilet instead of a bedpan, and I passed out, blacked out in the hallway, and I just remember coming to and, been taken back to my room. So
do you know how long after the actual accident that was? Or?
I think it was the next day.
Oh, yeah, okay, fair enough. So it wasn't like 3 weeks? No.
That was the next day. I just wanted to get up. I think I'd just had surgery that night, and I just wanted
Does
to
that give you grief to this day?
Yep.
So have you got a pin up for it?
The rod's been taken out. Got some pins in my ankle, but the rod's out now. So that we got out, I think probably a year or a bit later, once the bone had healed, just to stop the stint of my growth because I was so young.
Yeah, you're at that time, aren't you?
Yeah, so in all my development, and thankful for this day, touch wood, I've got one leg that's the same length as the other, so we're cheering.
Oh, did they stop that program after that? Like, that's a pretty significant... No?
No.
Damn, New Zealand's good.
Yeah, well, mate, it's all part of it.
Yeah.
So we crash, we learn, and...
Yeah.
I kept riding after that. It took a little bit, but as soon as I could get back on the bike, I did.
So that was 14.
Yeah.
What'd you do after that?
Mate, I put my head down and did an apprenticeship for automotive, and then I finished that and got towards the end of that, and it just wasn't quite what I wanted to do anymore, and moved over here.
Okay, so that was
left my friends, my family, everyone, and just up and left, packed my bags.
What year was that?
Oh, I wouldn't even know now. I've been here 10 years, coming up 10 years.
Yeah, nice.
So
when I first met you, it was probably maybe 8 years ago.
Yeah, it would have been now.
I know we mentioned it today. I was trying to think of it on the drive back up. It was probably 6 to 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And we were riding road bikes at the time, probably faster than we should have at the time. But it was fun.
When we look back now, definitely faster than we should have.
Because where we were today was about a kilometre away from where we went out that day and had it was an awesome ride.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me a story, because we had a mutual friend at the time, but I remember you telling me a story at that time about a clip-on braking. What is the go with that?
So we were out all day on a GSXR 750.
Yep.
And I'd been a little bit silly all day through the mountains and banging big highway wheelies at 100 plus kilometres and bringing the front end down, probably a little harder than I should have. And we'd finished the day. We'd done a beautiful ride through the mountains and riding again faster than we probably should have. And on the way back home, I was just trying to do a simple change of lanes to get past some cars at 100 k's. And put pressure on my clip-on, my left-hand clip-on, and went to turn back in, and it snapped away from me. So lost it in amongst my hand on the highway. So,
And you didn't crash? Or
didn't crash. I still to this day don't know how I didn't crash. The front end started shaking like crazy, and I just held onto my throttle hand. And as soon as the bike stopped shaking, I just grabbed the top of the triple clamp with my left hand and just held on to it. And the hard thing was after that was my kill switch had gone with the clip on. So I had no way of like stopping the bike once I got it to the inside barrier. So I had to just kind of let it stall itself. And that was probably the sketchiest because I got up alongside the medium barrier in the middle, and the bike's just like...
Because you got your clutch.
I've got no clutch, no kill switch, nothing. And it's just jumping around and... Yeah, it was nuts.
Yeah, I remember the basics of the story, but as I say, it's a long time ago now, and I was like, man, that was a killer story. Not cool.
It was wild. Yeah.
And obviously got back on the bike.
Well, that very moment we waited, I had a friend of the time come in with a ute. His partner came and we loaded up that bike, and he's like, I'm going to take that, but you take my bike and ride home. And I'm like, shaking still, and may as well jump straight back on.
You got to do it.
Rode an R1 home.
Yeah, nice. Not going to have that trouble with that.
No.
So, wow, that is crazy.
Yeah, very lucky.
How'd you get into the bike industry?
Bike industry was just by chance.
So was that when you first come to Oz you got into it, or did you do some other stuff here?
No, when I first came into Oz, as I say, like before that, my background was automotive. So I did my apprenticeship because I love tinkering around with things, and I've since learned that that's not just vehicles. I love just pulling anything apart. So it sort of started from that, and I landed a job within 12 hours of getting in the country. And so we flew in, and I went to bed, woke up the next morning, and I actually went to a shopping mall in Sunshine Coast, and was driving out, and there was a sign out there saying, job advertised at Goodyear Auto Care, and I went in there and got the job.
Bang, straight away.
straight into it. Yeah.
No real holiday.
No real holiday, mate. And I think I'm a sucker for punishment with that. I love just getting straight into it and moving forward. So that got the wheels turning for me here in Australia, and I'm so thankful for that. And it's a beautiful place. So from that, I then saw a job advertised online that was for a parts interpreter at a motorcycle store, and I was like, this is me. Like, go and be around bikes. I love bikes. I want to get away from cars.
Knowledge.
So I landed that as well, and I was driving from the Sunshine Coast to Brisbane just to do the job, and then I moved. So.
Mate, that commitment nowadays, like that's a few years ago now, but that commitment's pretty hard to find anyone that'd be within the industry that would want to do that, isn't it?
Yeah, I was young, mate. Like as I say, I'd left all my family, all my friends, and that was my focus. Was my career and where I could put myself and do things that I couldn't back home. And I was very lucky that the opportunities were open for me here.
So, did you know at that time that you had because you've got a really good design skill, finesse sort of thing with marketing, design. Did you have any of that at that time?
No, nothing.
So where'd that come into it?
Just a passion. As I say, it's more of a hobby, and it's not something that I took on for many years after that. So I've always just loved, designing things and seeing things, go from a start point to a finish and just being completely different to anything else. So, yeah.
How long did you stay in the parts interpreter role?
Not long.
Really?
Yeah, not long. I did.
For you?
No, I did that, and I just loved talking to people, and loved selling things. And the deal principal at the time was like, we need to get you on the sales floor. We need to get you away from the counter and actually running amok and being your bubbly self. So I was able to do that, and it just progressed from there.
Yeah, right. And then you just stayed within that group of companies at the time?
I stayed within that company, and I was, very lucky to have been given opportunities at the time that saw me going from a salesman to a sales manager, and then from a sales manager to a business manager, doing finance and insurance. And, I wasn't very, math orientated back in school. So selling finance was...
Some must have clicked.
It just clicked. It was just the salesmanship of doing it. It wasn't so much the numbers and adding up. It was, all of that is, we're very lucky today with technology. It all adds up. And,
I guess it sort of comes back to you see something at the start. This is what you get. This is what you need at the end.
Yep.
You're sort of you're building a process together.
100%.
So you're obviously good at that part.
Yeah.
So.
And the company, had a really good process to follow. And you followed that process, you got results. So.
When did you start riding road bikes?
Started riding road bikes pretty young as well.
Oh, did you?
It wasn't something that was a huge passion of mine, but it was something that, it's riding a bike, and anything with a motor underneath it, I love sitting on. So
you got into that young?
Got into that young as well.
Licensed?
No.
No, okay.
Yes and no.
Yes and no, yeah.
I lost my license a few times when I was younger.
Yeah, okay.
So,
that happens.
Yeah, with myself a few more times than normal. But, it took me a while to learn, and I thought I was invincible. So, yes.
And I've said it on here before, I'm not a fan of the "have you learnt your lesson" thing. That's not my favourite saying in the world, right? But did you learn from those mistakes or issues, transgressions?
Big time.
You did?
No, I did. Look, it took me a little while, and I was young, and we all do it when we're young. We try and show off in front of mates, and that's just the short of it. As a young male, I think we can all admit to that. But I did learn. I learned eventually.
Yeah, it just takes time.
It does.
And how did you find the industry? Like once you got into it, and you obviously got through a few different roles. How'd you find it?
I loved it. Yeah? I loved it, mate. It was, as much as you'd pull your hair out one day, you'd have those good days, and it all just made it worth it. So to be able to sit back and do what you love for a job and sell bikes that you have a passion for, it didn't really feel like work some days. So.
And at that time, did you grow up around Harleys, or did you have a
no, didn't at all.
So you didn't have any like brand biases or nothing. It was just
nothing,
you just love bikes.
I just love bikes, and
cool.
That's why one day I'd love riding a naked upright, and the next day a super sport, and then jump on a cruiser. It's just bikes.
Just two wheels at the end of the day. Yep,
that's right.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I thought you might have had some other upbringing of Harley side or dirt stuff. Or,
I just got into
passion.
Harley sort of off my own accord. I just I think I got on a few Harleys and just loved the rawness of them. And, it's all about sort of the motor outwards on those things. Like they shake, they make a heap of noise. Yeah. They don't turn too well, the older models, and they don't stop too well either. And I think that just adds to the enjoyment of them. So,
it's really raw, isn't it?
It's really raw.
Yeah.
So... And that's just how my passion for Harleys grew, and sort of the rest was history from there. Brought a few, sold a few, and modified a few, and
you've
crashed a few.
What was your first build? Like your first Harley build, anyway?
First build I think was a little 48, and then the big build I did was actually for my old man. I got him into. I think he's already had a love for Harleys, but seeing me doing what I was doing, he moved over here, and his dream was to buy a Harley, and he brought a Softail Slim, and I pulled that apart like everything. I mean, forks off, wheels off, like the whole works, and sort of just rebuilt it from the ground up, and made it his dream bike. So that was my biggest probably build.
So when you came over here, he obviously stayed in New Zealand?
Everyone stayed, yeah.
You just come in yourself?
just myself, well, a partner at the time that got a little bit homesick as you would from such a young age, and I just chose to ride it out, and
right. So your old man ended up coming over.
He came over, came and lived with me for a bit, and it was awesome to have him here and sort of have my best mate back, essentially.
He was at Day in the Dirt last year, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he tries to get out to most events that I attend and ride, which is awesome.
So was he a rider?
He was, yeah. So he grew up with a family that was actually into horses and didn't so much like the dirt bike, so he went against that grain and got his own dirt bike. And I guess he was a little bit of the influence behind me for sure.
So he hadn't had a road bike until you built that?
He had road bikes when I was growing up.
Yeah.
But like old school road bikes, not Harleys or anything. So old Suzuki Katanas and things like that.
Yep.
And he actually had, which is what inspired my 97 build, he had a 97 when I was growing up, brand new, off the showroom floor. And,
wow.
I've got photos of sitting on the front of that with him. And when the 97 came up, it was actually a trade-in through work, and it was worse for wear. Like, this thing wouldn't start.
The one we rode today?
Yeah. Yeah, it wouldn't start. Had no front wheel on it. It was just collapsed back bearings, and I grabbed it and I was like, we'll build this one day together, and it's sat in the shed for a long time.
I've heard that happens.
Yeah.
So that was really bad, that one.
Really bad. Yeah. So it took a lot of love
work.
And money.
Yeah. It looks good now though.
Yeah, well, I rebuilt it to a rideable standard. It wasn't going to be something we put in the living room, but it was meant to be ridden.
Yep.
So,
what did you do to it? Like, actually, I'm recording this too because I need to get some tips for my own stuff.
Yeah.
So what did you
Write down
actually
the
do?
list.
Yeah, just save me writing.
Stripped it back, mate. Stripped it back to the frame, and obviously the first thing with anything like that is making sure you get all the bearings and everything like that sorted first. So, bearings in your swing arm, bearings on your head stem, and sort of just working out from a base there, and then getting the motor structurally sound and back in the frame, and then suspension from there. So did the suspension.
Did you do that yourself, the suspension?
No, I actually got Artie from Airtime to do that. So he did a fantastic job.
Even though I'm heavier than you are and that, it still felt really good, eh?
It's a lounge chair, but it's, they're a really rigid frame, and we went a little bit plusher in the suspension just to soak up a little bit of that harshness, and it works really well on that bike. It's actually a rideable 97, which I don't know there is such a thing, but that's it.
That statement's never been said.
Yeah, so it's set up well.
But it is, it's awesome. It just feels so good.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one. I'm glad someone else finds it enjoyable to ride. So.
Like we said today, you could literally go out and ride pretty much anywhere on it. Yep. Apart from really muddy stuff. But you can pretty much ride anywhere else on it. It was, just heaps of grunt, but nothing silly. It's just enough to...
Yeah, it's usable.
And
sure.
As a real rookie, it felt really good for me. I enjoyed it.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it, mate. It's it was good to see you out there on it and not having it sit in the shed collecting dust. As I say, I built it to ride it, and I don't really get much time to do that. There's too many other bikes. So.
Yeah, that's the issue. That is definitely the issue.
Yeah.
So you built that for your old man?
Yes. Yeah.
What came after that?
I built a Dyna for myself.
Is this the maroon one?
This is the maroon Dyna that got me in a lot of fun and a lot of trouble in the same breath. So
it did?
Yeah, it was a good bike. It's just, the whole scene with Harley wheelies and burnouts. And
so did you get into that much?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yep.
A little bit, and then I didn't talk myself out of it, but I could see myself going down that same track of losing licenses again, and it's a pretty fun line to play with, and I take my hat off to a lot of guys that still do it, and you put your life at risk, and for the sake of enjoyment, and a lot of talent goes behind it to get those big bikes up in the air. That's for sure.
For sure, it's a huge talent pool.
Big time.
We got some good guys around too.
In Australia, yeah. It's a really up and coming, scene where we've got some talented riders here that are really showing the Americans how to do it. So
it's cool.
It is really cool.
Your Dyna, how long do you have that for?
A few years.
So that's the one that I've probably got the snaps on from Day in the Dirt, eh?
Correct, yeah. I decided to pull the road tyres off it and, a $20,000+ Dyna and put some dirt tyres on it. And, yeah, it turned a few heads, and a couple of guys come up and told me I was crazy before I took it on the dirt, and
Yeah.
I probably was.
Yeah. It looked cool though.
It did look good. It looked
Yeah.
better with dirt tyres on it, I reckon.
It looks sick.
Yeah, if I could have ridden it on the road like that, I would have. But it got
Yeah.
sketchy when that thing doesn't stop too well, and you got knobblies underneath you.
Yeah. And they got so much grunt.
Big torque, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome torque. But that was what started the fun for Harleys on dirt. You know,
At that time?
At that time, yeah. There was obviously the flat track scene in America, and, you know, flat tracking Harleys is nothing new. It's been around for a long time.
It's one of the oldest forms.
That's right. But that was sort of my, intro to it. And it was a lot of fun. As much as it was hurtful to the wallet afterwards, it was a lot of fun.
Because what did you do? You crushed a frame or something, didn't you?
I jumped it to the flat and caved the motor in and bent the frame and, yeah, did a bit of mischief.
Is it a big jump?
Oh, it wasn't that big. Like on a moto, it's
Yeah, but
nothing.
you're not on a CR250.
Yeah, on a dyno, it was
Yeah.
probably a little too big, I guess. But I wasn't the only one. A couple of other guys cracked sumps. You know,
Yeah.
there was a few of us out there on dynos, and it was a common thing that was happening during the day. Mine just happened to be a bit worse. So
Was this at QMP?
this was at QMP, yeah.
'Cause Was that a day in the dirt or was that dust? I think it
That
was,
was
a dust
dust
hustle,
hustle.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
When their first dust hustle they did out there.
Out at QMP, correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and I honestly thought that I'd broken something off the bike, and it was slapping around because I kept going, like it was making a huge knock, and I'm like, oh, I must have just bent something or something's gone up, and I've gone around the first, or a couple of next corners, and people are sort of cheering at me, what I thought was cheering, but they're trying to wave me down, and I'm like, what's going on? And I look down, and sure enough, there's just this cloud of smoke coming out the bottom of my bike, and I look behind me, and it's just a pool of smoke in the air. I'm like, oh, that's not good.
Yep.
So I tried to turn the bike off as quick as possible, and it just dumped oil all out the bottom. So yeah, that was a little bit wild. I got it back to the pits, and people were coming over and like turning their head and going, what have you done? Or I've broken it. It's going to happen doing these things. So yeah, that was pretty crazy. I brought a sump. I got a scissor jack out of a car and bent the frame, sandwiched the frame back out, and brought some parts for it and gave it a good engine flush, and put a sump back on it and a couple of other things, and I actually rode it to Coffs Harbour like 2 weekends after.
Really?
Yeah, I hadn't even taken it for a quick test ride. Nothing.
It's just got to happen.
It's got to happen.
Yep.
So that was a pretty big testament to their motors, I guess. To have
sure.
dirt go through it and things like that, and flush it out, and the bike be pretty good after that. It's pretty cool.
Because you had that for a fair while too, didn't you?
Yeah, farewell. I love that bike.
You did?
It was just set up awesome, mate. It was good for the road and good for the dirt.
Yeah, it's good for everything. Did you buy that new?
No,
That's
second
wasn't-
hand.
yeah, okay,
second hand. So
Yeah.
I come across that one with real OKs and did some mods to it and enjoyed it.
Did you do the suspension and that on that?
Yeah, I
did.
did the suspension. Nothing crazy, but just to stiffen it up a little bit. So,
They're
and that
awesome.
wasn't the last dust hustle. I did a couple more after that on it.
Because you did, North Brizzy.
Yeah, did the flat track on it.
That's perfect.
That was awesome fun on that
Yeah.
bike. The only probably downside was leaning it over that far.
Yep.
You started to scrape the frame and foot peg and everything.
Yep.
And it'd stand you back up.
Yeah.
So you really had to like find that in between line where you're kind of resting on your foot and sort of sliding it out yourself rather than letting the bike do it, because you could come unstuck pretty quick.
Damn.
Didn't manage to break it at that one, so
Perfect.
yeah, that was good.
And then you got rid of that, obviously.
Yeah, got rid of that.
Transitioned into the. Did you go straight to the 750?
Transitioned, from that into building a proper flat track bike. It just sort of came to light that I was like, I probably shouldn't keep doing this on this bike and build a proper one that actually serves the right purpose and, something that I can have a little bit more fun on. So,
Was there many people doing the flat track thing here at that time with the Harleys? Or was it really at the start of it starting to...
Yeah, look, the first time I sort of saw Harleys on the dirt was with the likes of Dean Ross and Brian Farrell and stuff like that. So that was, as around the same time as I put my dyno on dirt too.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, no one was really doing it from that. And I know Dean went out and built a little 500 from memory, and that was really sparking it. And then obviously with the likes of Brian and Mitch and things like that, we sort of progressed into the bikes that we had built a little bit later on, and the V-Twin Hooligan scene was started from there. So
hope it grows.
I hope it grows too, mate. We've got really good guys behind it and backing it, and with the likes of Tom Bennett and stuff with the photography, he's really shooting it and capturing it, which we know with everything now, there's a social media presence, and it has to be hard to, not to grow something, but to just get that general awareness.
People need to see it. If you don't see it, you don't know, do you?
That's right. So and people are in their phones more than anything now. So if they're seeing it on their phones, hopefully it continues to grow from there.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what the bike is at the track.
Not at all.
I know. I forget if it was. I think it was Brian that I was talking to about it. Like Sultans of Slide last year had the 550 Aprilia. Then they had this. They had the Harley. There was a good amount of Harleys there. Then there's a couple of Indians. To make it grow, you need to be able to do it.
Diversify, for
you have
sure.
to,
have more models out there and not be so, in one direction. As much as, the Harley scene is awesome. It'd be fantastic to see other guys out there. So,
just to make the sport grow, to a point where there's going to be more Harleys out there because there's more people out there.
That's right.
Just in general. So.
And the more people that get behind it, the more events that we'll be able to have, the more tracks that'll be open to it, the more spectators that are out there, it'll grow. It'll grow from that. So I'm all for it. More bikes out there, the better.
Did you enjoy riding the 750?
Yeah, well, I never rode it on the road. I have never ridden one of those bikes on the road still to this day. I picked that up completely stock and never even rode it on the road. I took it straight down to Brian, and we stripped it down and started the build.
Wow.
So then my first ride on it was on the dirt.
Day in the dirt or whatever.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I managed to get out a couple of weekends before that out to QMP, and they've got a little oval out there that,
That's right, at the back there.
Yeah, it's small. It gets super dusty and, super rutted out, but at least it's somewhere to jump on the bikes and have a bit of fun. So there's not a lot of places where you can go and ride the Harleys. It's still a little bit frowned upon.
Yeah, it is a bit. It'll change over time.
It will. It's already getting there.
It's
already getting there. So unfortunately, we had good momentum before COVID sort of came along, and there was a lot of frequent practice days and things like that out at Ipswich, and it was starting to get good traction.
For sure.
It's coming back now, and
everyone's...
I guess the benefit with COVID, everyone's had that time to sit back at home and maybe do a build that they didn't have time
Potentially
for.
didn't.
That's right.
Cash their super in and build up a build
cash
up a
your
tracker.
super in and spend 10K into a flat tracker. What more could you want?
That's right. Just let's put it all in the tracker.
Who cares about retirement? Let's go
probably
now.
happened. It's happened.
It's happened for sure.
Yeah,
it's already happened. We've seen it through the bike industry where we thought things would slow down big time. With luxury items like that, and it's gone completely the opposite.
Yeah. Across like multiple different brands, parts, everything like that. Like I know.
That's right.
June was the best-selling month for off-road motorcycles for
crazy,
3 or 4 years.
Yeah,
And
and at the moment, like you jump online, you're struggling to even find second-hand dirt bikes.
Yeah, nothing.
It's pretty cool. It's good to see though. Like that is,
if there's one thing good to come out of this sort of situation, I see it as well, is people might holiday more here, travel more here, race more here.
For sure.
Like you might get a few more things like that sort of starting to happen. Like let's go buy some bikes and let's get into racing again. We can't go overseas for a few years. Let's get into racing, or we can go
within Australia.
Tour within Australia.
Yeah.
Let's race horses or do horses around here, or let's go overseas and
start going overseas to Europe and
Europe and all those other
stay
places.
within Australia.
It's crazy though. Like it's been a weird time.
That's right. It has been.
Yep.
It's there's still a little bit of uncertainty out there, but if we all just hang in there and do what we need to as a nation and
be fine,
stick it out,
for sure.
Be good.
Now, industry. How'd you find it over the years? How'd you see it change?
Mate, it's evolved big time.
Really?
It's from that first initial sales sides of things where I was selling bikes, and it was a lot more. I wouldn't go down the lines of a lot more fun, but it was a lot easier to just talk and you know, have fun with customers. I guess it was,
Yep.
you know, people were coming in and, you know, they were there for a purpose. They were coming physically down to the stores to check out motorcycles and to, you know, be amongst that atmosphere of, you know, a bike shop. And I remember from a young age, like I used to love going down to the bike shop, you know, buying gear and, you know, just checking out all the new models and, you know, just being a part of it. And, you know, I guess it's evolved from there with, you know, a lot more of an online presence and, you know, a lot more accessible to just sit at home and search up what you want. And, you know, the average person now, they will research something a lot more than the knowledge as a salesperson will sit there and have. And they will come into the store and, you know, they'll probably know more about that bike than what I would and what you would, because they have searched that model through and through. They've compared it with the other likes of models on the market that they may be looking to buy or compare it to. And, you know, they're coming in ready and they know what they want before they get there. They're more or less probably getting prices from all around before they're coming in to make their purchase. And, that changed the culture a lot, you know what I mean? Because you were sitting then behind the desk and you were taking phone calls and email inquiries that were, you know, growing over time because people were shopping differently. You know, they weren't just coming in and impulse buying, I guess. You know, where they'd just turn up at the door and, you know, old Jimmy's come in to buy a Fox shirt and he's leaving with a new KXF 250.
Yeah, Saturday morning purchases.
Yeah. And
that's what it was too, wasn't it? It was Saturday morning.
Correct, yeah.
It was just people central at shops.
That's right. It was booming.
So that's one of the big things?
That's probably my biggest, you know, sitting back and recognizing it from there is, yeah, that's probably a big part that it's changed a lot of the culture, I guess. And culture in a sense that, you know, people that might have necessarily worked in a bike shop beforehand, it doesn't quite suit them now because that whole relationship building and stuff and that impulse buying and, you know, that whole rapport of having friends come down to the shops, it's still there, but it's definitely changed a lot. So.
And I guess other part too is like mates in the stores. Like when I first met you, there was like obviously through Dan McEwen, there was another couple of guys as well. Now it's hard to sort of see groups of people that were hanging out and going for rides of a weekend that were staff at these stores.
For sure. Too
much. You know, I'm out of the loop of the group of companies, but that's sort of what I see from that side. Like I know here there's a few, you know, shop rides and staff get together and stuff, but in some of the other sorts of things, you don't sort of see that as much anymore. Do you find that as well?
For sure.
Yep. Sort of culture.
That culture sides of things, and companies are aware of that. Like, you know, they are doing stuff internally to try and ramp up that culture and you know, get behind their staff, being a little bit more involved and, you know, coming to events and launches and things like that. Like, I think they are aware of it. Again, it's
a big wheel.
It is, but it'll do a circle, like we're already seeing. You know what I mean? Like
for sure.
Like we spoke about today, you know, once this sort of blows over with the whole COVID, people are going to be searching for that, you know, face-to-face interaction and events again, I think, you know.
For sure.
It's going to change a lot of way people probably shop still, but they're still going to look to get out and
shop rides, community, things like that. So I don't know how much you've seen here or been part of here before, sort of thing. So down here, there's a new cafe at the front, Alley Pit Stop.
Yes.
So I spend a lot of time here. This is where this is. So I spend.
Why wouldn't you though? Like it's a beautiful.
There's
shop.
bikes. It's a good shop.
It's awesome.
The coffee's good out the front. Everything. It's good. It's really good. But you sit here on a Saturday morning, because we've done a few podcasts on Saturday morning, and now that people are out of lockdown and that, there's people getting out again.
For sure.
And, you know, there's groups of this, there's groups of that, and it's good to see. I hadn't seen that around the industry for a long time. You know, this is just one place. It's probably like that everywhere. Starting to be like that again everywhere, but it's nice to see.
For sure. And, you know, as long as people are practicing those things that we've got in place with, you know, being safe and things like that, we need people to get out and about, and we need, you know, to keep that wheel turning. For sure.
So, how many years were you in that sort of?
I don't even know now. I've lost count, man. I've lost count. It's all just blurred into one. It's been one awesome ride and awesome journey. So,
so you're out of that sort of world now. But you've
am
still
now.
got a foot in the door of that world, doing your own
I think
stuff.
I'll always have a foot in the door. You know, it's
Yep.
where my passion lies, and
Yep.
you know, now I think I just get to do it for myself in a different light, and you know, it's awesome, and I'll always be a part of it, and
Yep.
hopefully I keep riding and have a foot in the door that way too.
Yeah, nice. What is it that you do now?
So I do a few things,
Yeah.
but I've still got a graphic design business.
Mhm.
That's never been something I wanted to do full time. It's always just been a hobby.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. I enjoy sitting down and, you know, designing something from start to scratch and seeing a customer love it, and then getting to see my product out on a bike. And yeah, it's something that I'm trying to keep nice and niche and limited, and, you know, just take the pressure off myself with that. So that's been an awesome journey as well. So
Were you an artist in any way?
I enjoyed art, but I wouldn't consider myself an artist. Like, growing up, I always loved to paint. Believe it or not, I always used to love like making homes. Like, I always thought I was going to be an architect. I sat down and, you know, I used to take a cardboard box and just cut it into all these different shapes and make like these just homes that were a bit out of the ordinary, and, you know, angled walls and stuff. And I used to love it.
Damn.
I loved it.
So you reckon that's where the design stuff came from?
Yeah, as I say, like, I always sort of had a little bit of a design passion, but I never considered myself an artist. And I've never done any courses. Same with marketing. I've never been through, you know, any degrees or anything like that. I've always just, I see something, I pick it up, and I love seeing it through, and I love learning along the way, and just being adaptable on the fly. So, and I think that's one of the big things with marketing, that I guess you just have to move with the times, and things change so quickly. You have to be ahead of that curve and think of the new, fresh thing, and see what works.
Have you had some good mentors along the way? Hang on. Don't want to bag anyone out here. But is there relationships you've built along the way that has helped that, do you think?
I've
triggered things?
I've built a lot of relationships along the way with a lot of good people, like a lot of good people within the industry. But I don't know. Like, there's not, if I sit back here right now, there's not really a mentor that I have in mind that I've gone, you know, wow, like, I want to follow in their footsteps. I think I've always just been really critical of myself and really hard on what I do. And if I don't do it right, I have to put it down. So
blaze your own path too.
Yeah. And I haven't really, looked up to anyone, I guess. I've just kind of wanted to run my own race and do the best I possibly can with what's in front of me, and, you know, what I can take that and build upon and keep going.
So with your design stuff, like, that's all your own?
All my own, I've never been taught by anyone. I had a business partner inside Ride that his name was Dan. He helped me a lot with, you know, learning a few different things, and I also picked up things along the way that I, on the other hand, taught him as well. And he's like, wow, I've never thought of doing it that way. And, you know,
really?
He had a background in design, and we just kind of fed off each other, and it's growing from there. I've just continued to learn and evolve and design things that people like, and being inside a marketing role, that's been pretty fast paced. So you learn a lot when you're going quick.
Yeah, you do.
You also mess up a lot. So
yeah, it's sort of a balance, isn't it? Trying to get good things out, obviously good product out, or whatever it may be, but still efficiently, I guess. Efficiently is probably the word for it. So
100%.
And is Dan still part of those?
No, so he actually left. He went to Rival Inc.
Oh, really?
So, you know, we had a good chat about it, and he's like, you know, I want to chase this opportunity. If this opportunity's, you know, come up, and I said, go for it. Like, you're going to learn more there and do more there than what you ever will with what we have going. You know, it's only.
How long ago was this?
Probably 2 years ago now, maybe a bit longer.
Fairly recent.
Yeah, it was still pretty recent. So and then I've just, as I said, Ride's nothing I've ever put focus on or highlight on, because I've always had my career aside from that has just always been full on. Like, it's always been go, go, go. So design work always just come into play when I got home on a weekend.
when you found spare time at 1 a.m.
Yeah, that magic
after
word.
your last rolls of like any job that you're into full time is hard work, but you've had a lot of hard work in those last few years.
A lot of hard work.
Yep.
Yeah, just trying to keep my head down and get ahead. So those ambitions, I guess, I'm very thankful for where they got me, and it's definitely helped me realize a different path now. Just to slow things down and not be so in the rat race. I guess it's everyone's out to do the best they possibly can, but I think it's nice to just sit back sometimes and reflect on what we do have and slow it down a little bit and enjoy the finer things.
Enjoy what we have.
100%. So it's taken me a while to realize that, as jumping into that from such a young age. It's you think you need to just get as far ahead as possible, and the problem with doing that is you don't really take the time to step away and look back. So,
never get to appreciate it.
100%.
And you found that?
I'm finding it. I wouldn't say I've found it now because I still love the chaos.
There's no enlightenment, sorry?
No. I've got a lot of good support around me, and as I say, with my partner now, she's very supportive of what I do, and it's definitely helped to just slow myself down and look at the amazing things I have around me and what I've done from such a young age, and I guess take a little bit of that journey and put it into my new ventures. So.
Yeah. And you're doing some app development stuff, aren't you?
Developing an app at the moment, yes. That's been in the works for a little while.
Can we talk about that?
Not so much. I mean, I can
Just
talk about
the
the gist of it.
Yeah.
We're in the process at the moment of reaching out to investors that,
Yep.
we're trying to keep a little bit of a lid on it. I didn't realise how expensive an app would be. I guess I was a little bit naive in that sense.
Is there a lot of money in it? I don't know, so...
Yeah,
there
a
is.
lot. I guess if you know the right people, it'd be a lot easier, but it's going to take a lot of money to get to the point where I want to do it. And it comes back to that thing of I don't want to put out something that's half done.
Yeah.
I want it to be incredible from the launch. And it's going to take a bit of monetary value to get there and a bit of hard time and effort, but it's almost there, hopefully.
And have you done sort of some of the front end stuff, or?
So I've done a lot of the user experience, a lot of the mapping out of it, a lot of the front end design, a lot of the background, what it looks like, what it feels like, and pretty much from start to finish with that. And the app has evolved over probably the last 2.5 years. I probably got the idea 3 years ago, and I'm still at this point now. And I'm probably my own worst enemy with that, where I haven't, just stopped and put down what I'm doing and focused solely in it. But I think the benefit of doing that is I've evolved it so much that so many things have come to light that if I had just jumped in and launched it half-assed and put bare minimum into it money-wise as well, it wouldn't be what it could be.
Right.
So it's getting there. It's getting there. So, and again, it's based around bikes, and that's I saw a gap in not just the market, but I saw a gap within everyday things that I was doing with motorcycles. That was like, hey, there's got to be an easier way to do this, and that's where it kind of just sparked. So.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, hopefully we get that done.
So it's like apps are a big investment for people.
Yeah, big time. So
because you don't it's like any industry or anything. You don't know until you're part of it. Like I wouldn't have a clue that an app's going to cost $10 or $200,000.
Yeah, thousands.
Yeah,
so
crazy.
Yeah, it is. And the app itself too actually has a module that integrates with it. So it's not just an app on its own. It's actually talking to something that communicates back with it and helps share data. So it's
AI.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Nah, very interesting. Very interesting. But yeah.
So yeah, and amongst that, we started a horse label earlier the start of this year, last year as well.
Yeah,
so
you messaged me earlier in the year about this. So what's that?
I saw a gap again in the market with that, and
is this one of those 2 a.m. thoughts?
Industry knowledge, and no, it was a broad daylight. Like, why is it being done like this?
Wow.
Looking at obviously what people spend in the horse world, and they spend big dollars. Like,
is the horse world worse than motorcycles?
Way worse.
Like not worse, but as in spending?
Not worse as in like the industry, but worse as in the spending.
Spending-wise?
Yes. Yeah. I thought I was bad. Like I thought I had an addiction with motorcycle gear and building bikes. And then, I was introduced to this whole new world that made me look like what I've been doing is...
It's like an apprenticeship in spending.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, this isn't so bad. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing because now I look at what I'm doing, I'm like, I can up this.
Yeah,
I can buy more bikes. I can build more cars, but... Yeah, so I saw a gap there, and and I mean a gap just within the quality versus what they were spending, and I think that's come with a little bit from being in the industry and having my hands in a product sense of things, and developing products, and seeing that from start to finish, and I saw what they were using in both helmets, gloves, and the quality just wasn't there. So that sparked that, and we're almost at the launch of that now. We've just been developing a few more samples. COVID again unfortunately put a bit of a pause on that. I wouldn't say a stop because we were able to look at a lot of other things while it was paused and just made sure we were doing it right. So
that's coming ahead.
That's coming ahead as well. So put that on top of the app and the design work and running around after horses every day. And trying to fit in some riding. It's good.
Far out. It's
really
busy
good.
life.
Yeah, I guess it is busy.
I
don't see it as busy. That's the problem. And I've got good people around me and
you enjoy it.
Yeah, I do enjoy it.
Yeah,
and I do enjoy the chaos to some extent because my brain doesn't stop, so I kind of need it to balance everything out.
Definitely. You're one of the, and lucky's not the right word, but you're one of the people that has been able to be on the front of the house of a business.
Yes.
Plus, you've also been behind the scenes of the business, like you're saying, development of gloves, development of helmets. You've had a lot of knowledge across those things. Has that helped you do the horse thing, you think, as well?
It's helped me with everything, believe it or not. Like, not just with the horse thing and with the app or anything. It's
just life in general?
It's just life knowledge, I think. And I've been, again, very lucky and very fortunate to have done what I've done and still be so young. And be able to take away those learnings, and it's awesome. So it does help, like seeing things from a front end perspective, and then working in the backgrounds. Developing promos and marketing material and anything like that. You sort of have a better core knowledge of what the guys in the front of the shop face every day. Yep. What is actually, I guess, attractive. What does a customer walk in and, they don't get greeted by a salesman within 30 seconds, but they look at posters and they look at material around the showroom. What knowledge do they absorb and take in before even talking to anyone? And I think that's a big thing when you walk into a shop and, you've got your heart set on something and you see a piece of material that helps that, that purchase, or you walk in there and you're like, that is that price and, X amount per month, whatever it be, gear-wise, on sale. Yeah, it's helped a lot of different things, I think.
That's user experience, isn't it? It's sort of like, you talk about websites and stuff like that. That comes back to user experience too.
Correct.
So you walk in, the user needs to have that experience of, oh, wow, okay, they're not talking to me because they're obviously busy or something.
And
however, there's an
dealerships
experience
get busy.
They do. There's people are busy. And that sort of comes into that too, doesn't it?
For sure.
Walk in, you've got like a supplement that you can go to.
Yeah.
So
for sure. And as you touched on that a little bit, like user experience, I haven't had a lot to do with websites, where I've done degrees or anything like that, but I love looking into user experience. I love landing on a site and seeing its layout, its creativity, and, what draws people in, and the steps someone has to go through to find what they need to find. And that just intrigues me. So
the flow of how
the flow, for sure.
Because you want to keep someone intrigued into your brand or your profile, whatever it may be.
That's right. And you want it to be easy for them. You don't want to make something more difficult than it needs to be. Like if they want to come in and they're trying to search for a specific thing, how do we make that as easy as possible? Like if they're coming in and they're looking for a bike and then they want to see what model, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't need to be hard.
No, you should
harder
make
than
it
it needs to be.
Easy as possible,
For sure.
And the other part too is the varying degrees. Everyone has varying degrees of skill set when they're touching a phone, a computer, whatever. Not 100%. Everyone has the skill set of, I'm going to search this little part or whatever. You need to make it simplified.
And how do you cater for that? You only have one website platform. You can't make 3 different websites for someone's different, ability to scroll through something.
Not like ticking your racing class.
No.
You can't go into the Harley website and go, okay, so we go beginner, intermediate.
B class.
B class, Okay, so we get the B class website and here's the gear, So very, very, very true. Now, you're building up a car.
Oh, I am at the moment, yeah.
What, and that's not just at the moment, that's been for a little while.
For a while, yeah. I loved working on bikes, but I wanted to do something different again, sort of go back to where it all started for me. And whether it's a bike, a car, anything, it's, I love it. So, yeah, I started building a few classic cars a couple of years ago, and now I'm on to an old F truck, which is... It's been an experience.
So what is it, a 77?
77 F100.
Yep.
Yeah, long wheelbase to obviously get the bikes on there as easy as possible.
Of course.
And still have room.
Power plant?
351 Cleveland V8.
Yeah,
so
nice.
It's still got the stock motor in it, but we've done a few things to it now.
Transmission?
It's just got the 4-speed manual box.
Yep.
Yeah, it's nice and easy. Probably a bad thing being manual, but...
So it's going to be a driver?
Yeah, we'll see how the tyres last.
Yeah. I can't believe where we were today. A Ford with a 350 Chev. I know it happens a lot, but it still doesn't look good.
It doesn't. Beautiful car, though.
Awesome car.
And if you're an automotive enthusiast,
it's still damn cool.
Yeah, it's still a V8 and a nice ute.
Yeah, definitely. And it's very popular.
It is.
Very popular to do. So you can see why.
You can definitely see why. And even looking for parts for the motor that I've got now, it's getting harder and harder. So,
really? You find it harder?
Yeah, well, people are restoring cars now, and they are worth money. And I know that sounds weird, but it's like they're becoming worth more. And it's sort of an era that you wouldn't expect. I think we're moving within a generation. So the cars that we remember and we want to purchase are, obviously climbing up a little bit in the year.
Sure.
So, yeah, those 70s and
it's crazy money, some of these cars.
Crazy money.
I think people like to have tangible items, especially I think maybe the next generation through after us, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I think we're just on the tail end of it, maybe. But having a tangible item that you can build, you can do this, and it's now not just a product; it's an investment. And
100%.
if you've had a Monaro or something, the last 10 years, the value of that Monaro has probably been fairly close to what a general house would be in residential Brisbane, as in growth term.
Definitely.
It's crazy.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing, though. If we could have all sat back and gone, I'll buy that $8,000, $5,000 vehicle.
Yep.
Put it in the shed. We all would have done it.
Mate, I remember it was 2002. I got offered a Formula Blue VK Brock. Cool car. Loved it. I was too young for it.
Yep.
But I think it was about $6,800 or $6,500. Then it went up. Then sadly Peter Brock passed away. Then it went up a lot.
Yeah.
And now they're sitting at 150 plus. And that car was a good car. It wasn't a bad car.
Hey?
So yeah.
Incredible.
Anyway, hindsight is a lovely thing.
That's right, hindsight.
And what about bikes? You got any other bikes on the menu?
So I've actually just done a little bit of a clear out of the shed.
Yeah.
To make room for hopefully some new partnerships and some new ventures, and hopefully I've got a new build underway shortly.
Awesome.
Which is going to be exciting.
Without going into too much detail, but what sort of builds? Anything in particular?
Flat track.
Going to stick to track?
I'm building another flat tracker. I can't keep away from it, mate. Like that.
Seriously, that's what appeals to you now?
100%. Like riding moto, like we did today.
Yep.
You don't get to do that every day.
No.
Like in a setting where there's no pressure, there's no time restriction, there's no, like it was just riding. Like that was just jumping on your bike, going when you want to go, riding how you want to ride. And, that's a luxury now unless you have land or, something like that. And what appeals so much about the flat tracking scene is the culture of it. We keep mentioning this word culture, but I think it's something we're all in search for. And, the group of guys behind it, the riding style, it's a lot more laid back, but you can be competitive in it. You can, bang bars with some of your best mates and then park back up and everyone's, having a laugh and everyone's there to help one another. And I can see it from so many different angles of being, you know, a professional in it or being a beginner in it. You're still going away with the same smile. Like it's such a fun thing to do.
And for me, looking at it, you're not banging yourself up like motocross.
That's right. Yeah, you can come down and you know, it's going to hurt, but you're not.
So you open up age groups. You know, you can open from the junior, right through to whatever if you still want to proceed into it. And that's a really cool thing for a sport.
For sure.
I know there's vintage motocross and there's vets and there's this and that, but it's still like a lot of people that have had to come through doing the motocross scene for a long time.
Yep.
You can go and do flat track as your first time and gradually build yourself into being fast, fun, whatever you want to do. That's the real cool thing about that sport, I feel.
For sure.
And it's underrated.
It is. And the more it grows, the more we'll be able to get the distinguished levels within it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the more we'll be able to have that A group, that B, that C, where, you know, the guys that just want to ride in the C class, it's not going to be so fast paced and, you know, you can still get quite intimidated by it if you're out with a group of guys that are flying past you. So, yeah, the more it grows, it'll be good.
Yeah, and I hope it does. I know there's a lot of good people that are trying to put a lot of things together for it.
Yep.
New South Wales, Motorcycling New South Wales did a job last year. And that was good. There was a good intro for that sort of style of it. I just hope it, you know, this period has sort of slowed things down a bit, but it'll come back. There's still a lot of bikes in the shed.
For sure. And as we said before, you know, it's given probably people the time to maybe do that build that they didn't have the time for before.
I'm going to build one.
Do it. Do it. I'd love to see you out there. It'd be good, mate.
So I got told the other day to do it on the Sporty.
Yeah.
Don't do it on the 750 because fuel injections for pussies, I think is the word. So do it on an old Sporty. But yeah, I am in the hunt. So looking at.
I'll tell you right now, at 750 was so much fun to ride. It just revved out more. Yep. They are quick on the straights. You know, I had a couple of the guys that I was obviously riding with. Yeah. Jump off their Sporties and jump on the 750, and it blew their mind a little bit. You know, they were like, wow, yeah.
What I see with it, and they're not making the 750 anymore, but what I see for it too, like brand new, $8,900, you get yourself a brand new bike.
It's good value.
It's damn good value.
And they weren't sitting at that value. You know, obviously they were a little bit more expensive for one stage, but they came down, and that's good value to buy a base model.
For sure. And if you want to go and do something with that, you've got yourself a brand new bike to go and do whatever on. It's pretty damn good.
To go and wreck.
Yeah, I know. I said whatever because I didn't want to say wreck because I know Annie's listening. Oh, she'll probably listen. And she goes, you're not going to go wreck a new bike. But
I mean, sorry, I'll reframe that. I mean, ride. I meant ride. Up. Yeah.
But have you heard of or seen that Roaring Sporties?
No.
Okay, so it's a class that they used to have road racing here back in the 90s. And it was all Sportsters, obviously. And now you can get the 750 in it. You can get, there's a few different, there are going to be a few classes within the race. So you can go road racing on the 750. You can then go back, put some 19s on it, go do the tracker thing. You got sort of like a multi-purpose bike.
That's awesome.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
Because it's very hard to have a bike just for one purpose. And I
it is.
You know, like I said about building my CR up on a bit of this, bit of that, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a really cool thing. So
to be able to have something that has more than one purpose or one way to use it, that was the biggest thing I found with the tracker. You know, like I poured a lot of money into setting it up, and there was still a long way to go. Like I needed to cut up the tank and, you know, get a flat tracker seat on it. I was just riding the thing stock, and it could have become a lot better than what it was, but it was already fantastic. So I could have only imagined, but my typical mind got the better of me, and I want to build something else already. So
how are you with your metal fab?
Pretty good. I've been off it for a while, but I love welding. Like,
so you could do your own tank and that if you want to go that path?
Tank would be a bit of a stretch for me at the moment, but I'd love to. I'd love to build a tank.
It would be something.
That'll probably be my goal. So tail sections, frames, everything like that, I'll pick up. And, you know, one thing, again, I'm really picky and I like things to be perfect. So if I start something and it's not right, I'll cut it up and start again.
When you started your automotive apprenticeship at that age, did you think you'd be here now?
No way. I didn't think I was going to leave New Zealand, to be completely honest. So
Wow.
it's not really something you think about at that age. I think you're just kind of...
You're comfortable, aren't you?
You're comfortable. You're thinking, you just got a job, you've got a little bit of money coming in, you've got some independence. It's that in itself's quite overwhelming, and I wanted more.
And New Zealand, like, take away all the jokes that have been said today, it's an awesome place.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It is beautiful. And, it's still home to a lot of people, but this is home for me now.
Yep.
And that's the way I see it. I left for reasons, and I don't like going back. I do go back, but not very often.
Right.
And I think that's purely because this is home for me. So what's the need to go back?
Yeah, that's right. What's your what are we going to see out of you for 2021? 2020 beyond?
2020 beyond.
Yep.
Just using this year to finish, on the best note possible. We've all had a little bit of downtime, so it's been good for me to get on top of probably a few of those chaotic projects in my mind and actually see them through. And 2021, I hope to have a big presence back inside the flat tracking scene and hopefully beyond. I really want to get over to America. I really want to do, some racing over there, and I've got the time for it now. I've got the freedom, so I need to put some time into my own racing and not looking after everyone else for once.
So you'd like to go over and do that?
I'd love to.
Really?
The first chance I get, I'll have a bike set up and I'll get over there. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it'd be good, mate.
And would you do like the hooligan, or would you go to the longer tracks?
I'd like to do both.
You
I'd
would?
like to do the hooligan, like obviously with a bit of jumping and stuff like that involved, but I'd love to get out on the big open circuits too and really get back to sort of that solo style riding.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. So if I could do both, even better.
Mate, that's cool.
So that's some of the goals there for the riding, but hopefully we see some of these business ventures come into light and COVID take a little bit of a backseat.
Yeah, fingers crossed at the end of that. So
for a lot of people, not just myself, but just for everyone to get back to normality and
just in general, eh?
Yeah.
Nice. And when are we going to see some of the horse business stuff coming out, you reckon?
Mate, that's not far off.
Really?
We've got a little bit there that we could probably launch fairly soon, but is it the right timing? I guess we won't know until we try.
Yep.
So that'll definitely be before the end of the year, I'd say.
Awesome.
Yeah, we just got to pick our moment now.
Where can, without going on to a private profile, where can people find you online?
Coming from a marketing background, it sounds strange, but I don't have personal social media. It's I guess it's something I've been so heavily involved in, but I've just got my work profile now, which is Ride Design Co, and I pretty much use that in itself. Juggling messages and comments from that is full time enough. So. But that's where you'll find me, mate. And hopefully I'll put a few more of my builds and stuff onto that page too, and widen it a little bit from the graphic scene and just sort of follow the things that I set out to do.
So if people reach out for you, you will do kits for them.
I will.
Yeah,
100%.
You don't actively pursue kits, do you?
No. Yeah. No, I don't market. I don't do anything like that. Yeah. I pretty much just revolve on word of mouth, and I do a limited amount of kits per year. So we try and keep it within 100. And I'm a one-man show, so if we're flat out, I can only juggle so much. But we'll get back to you as soon as we can, and we'd love to do more kits. But I still want to keep it niche, and I want to keep it fun.
Yeah.
So
that's what it sort of seems like with yourself now. I see you're very calm.
I never used to be.
No.
I used to be, I'd meet yourself out at events.
Yeah.
I'd be at Day in the Dirts. I'd be at, Dust Hustles and Transmotos. And I would have a million things going on, and my head would be, 2 weeks in front of myself. And I would be in an environment where I was present physically, but I wasn't mentally. I was in another world. And, I've got good friends that I've spoken to about this, and, they give me advice and I give them advice, and we're hypocrites at the end of the day because we don't take it on board sometimes, but I'm trying my best now. And I think it comes down to growing as well as a person and getting older. You kind of, I know I'm still young, but a lot of my experiences have made me appreciate.
Made you age?
Have made me age quicker than probably I needed to, but I'm still young enough to take those experiences now and use them for the better.
You seem like getting to hang out literally just hang out, which doesn't happen very often with just people anymore.
Yeah.
A couple of people just hanging out for a day. You just seem like you're in a good place with it anyway.
Today was amazing, mate. Yep. Like that's one of the memories that you put in the back of the mind and you sort of don't forget. Being able to ride like that and be around good people and the way that we were invited out to that place as well. That's something in itself. It's it's pretty special to know there's still people out there like that, and you can go and do something like that and walk away with a bigger smile. So
that is 100% correct. Like, to be invited onto premium property, just of goodwill, hard to find.
100%. So, and that property, we won't go into too much, but there was a lot of stuff inside that property too that they are. I know if I had someone in my house as well, and I'm even cautious, having my shit open and stuff because there's a lot of money in there, and that's someone's hard work through life. For sure. To build that and just to have people that you don't know around that and be so welcoming, like it's incredible.
Like I've had bikes stolen, I've had cars stolen in the past. My house is shut. Yep. Like it's
a vault.
There's an inner sanctum, of friends and whatnot. But it was really nice, and same deal. Like the address never comes out of us. It was a great thing, and so shout out to Chris for taking care of us today. It was awesome. And,
beautiful part of the world.
Indeed. Anything else, mate?
Mate, no, just thank you for having me. I don't know who wants to listen to me ramble on, but I guess you did.
I certainly did, mate. No, I didn't. No, of course nobody did. No, I certainly did. And for one thing, mate, I'm really lucky to call you mate.
Yeah,
and
thank you. Vice versa.
I've known you for nearly a decade probably now. And it's good seeing you grow through the industry and now do your own thing. I think that's a really good thing. So,
and you too, mate. Like to see you back there in that chair doing your own thing, obviously being within the industry and seeing a lot of these things evolve through the time that I've been just in marketing. Yep. It's awesome to see you out there doing, what you do and doing it in the way you want to do it and you love. So
awesome, mate. Well, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
And once again, too, thanks for letting me ride that CR. It's given me another kick in the arse to get mine going.
Anytime, mate. When you get stale on that build, just come and pick her up.
Done.
Get a bit of a reminder.
Done. Thanks, Ashley. Peace. And if anyone's heard anything in the background too, it's just the dogs snoring. They're super relaxed in here.
Yeah, we've got the Frenchies with us today, and they come everywhere. They're our children, so we love to take them with us, and they love being around bikes. They don't even.
I can't believe how relaxed they are around the bikes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't chase them. They just want to see what's going on, and then they'll go to sleep.
Pretty damn good. As I say, I've heard them just snore more of the day than they did bark or anything. So, very cool. Well. Thank you for everyone for listening, and just another little shout out too. We had in 30 days 25,000 different views, which is something that from the start we never thought that we'd probably get this early. And just thank you for everyone for all their support so far, and I hope you enjoy what we're doing and what we're going to be putting out in the future. It should be pretty damn cool too. So, thanks. Have a good week. Cheers.